From Deadline, The Acolyte has been canceled. No season 2 for Disney Plus's Star Wars series. And it's because it is a cringe woke fest of garbled nonsense. And they have burned Star Wars to the ground. Yeah, I liked the original Star Wars. It was fun. Some people say it was a ripoff of Dune or whatever. I don't know. I don't care for Dune. Star Wars was pretty cool. I watched this video explaining how they made the lightsaber noises. Holy crap, it's really cool. What they did was they took the hum from a projector and some clicking from some, I can't remember what it was. It was a hum from a projector, another click. And the sound, it's funny. They play the sound and it's just, and that's all it is. Like, that's all it is. Nothing else. Then they played it on a speaker and took a large shotgun mic and waved it back and forth in front of the speaker, creating a Doppler effect. So it goes whoom, 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 whoom. That's really cool. And it's funny because they swing the shotgun like it's the saber with how they're filming the saber. And that's really cool. Now it's probably just computers or whatever. That's cool stuff. So anyway, Star Wars was fun. And then they just mercilessly beat this thing to death. Wow. Talk about not knowing how to create good stories. Deadline reports. The story of The Acolyte will not continue. The Lucasfilm opting not to proceed with the second season of the Star Wars offshoot, starring Amanda Stenberg, sources told Deadline. Word of the decision comes more than a month after the 8-episode first season of the series from creator, director, executive producer Leslie Headland wrapped its run on Disney+. Yeah, and they had this viral video where they were like, it's not made for white men or something like that. Let me see if I can pull that up. Because that was a big deal. They were like saying something like that. What is this? White angry nerds. Star Wars. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Star Wars actress Amanda Stenberg's white people remark sparks fury. She said, interviewing the actress, she says, what do you want people to walk away with? Stenberg replies, well, white people crying actually was the goal. That's not actually about Star Wars. It was about her movie, The Hate You Give. And I'm sorry, when you attack the majority of the country and insult them, you're probably going to lose viewership. They say, the news is not entirely surprising. The Acolyte did okay with critics, 78% of Rotten Tomatoes, but divided Star Wars fans, which was reflected in its overall viewership. Driven by interest into the venerable space franchise, the Acolyte got off to a strong start when it launched June 4th with 2 episodes, generating 4.8 million views in its first day on the streamer, to rank as the biggest series premiere on Disney Plus this year. The tally rose to 11.1 million views globally after 5 days of streaming. Corroborating Disney's data, the series made its debut on Nielsen's top 10 originals chart in its premiere week. Now, hold on. How did a show start off as their number one show and then get canceled? They said The Acolyte could not sustain the momentum, dropping out of the top 10 in week 3 and staying off before returning at number 10 after the release of the finale. Believed to be the lowest for a Star Wars franchise film finale, 335 minutes. Like fellow global streamers Netflix and Prime Video, Disney Plus is a high viewership threshold for renewing high-end, big-budget series that cost well above $100 million per episode to make. Per season. In interviews, Headland has revealed that she had pitched her ideas for a second season, sharing her hopes for a renewal. Lucasfilm's first and most successful to date, The Mandalorian, is carrying on, crossing over to features with the upcoming The Mandalorian and Grogu. Ahsoka, the company's series that preceded The Acolyte, has been renewed for a second season. I gotta tell you, you know why it failed? It's actually quite simple. The first couple of episodes, everybody pointed out, were actually fine Star Wars. And it didn't, and until like episode 3, they waited to bring in the lesbian space witch weirdness. And then everyone was like, I'm not watching it anymore. Get woke, go broke, baby. This is a great example. The number one series for Disney Plus, and then it just crumbles in front of their eyes. Ha! Cry more about it. You destroyed Star Wars. You've ruined what it was, and it's never coming back. Bye, Star Wars fans. You can have it. The Acolyte was a mystery thriller that took viewers into a galaxy of shadowy secrets and emerging dark side powers in the final days of the High Republic era. A former Padawan reunites with a Jedi Master to investigate a series of crimes, but the forces they confront are more sinister than they ever anticipated. In addition to Stenberg, the cast included blah, 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 and the show is gone. Look at all these comments. What are they saying? Set up some really interesting ideas to explore with Darth Plagueis, Yoda, and a pair of villains that actually won in the end. Shame we won't get to see more and more of the best lightsaber fights ever put out there. I guess the news will give some of the hate influencers content to feed their mindless, brainwashed minions until they can cycle up the hate for Skeleton Crew in December. Cause adults bashing kids shows is a look they enjoy wearing. One person said, I assume Disney still won't learn their lesson. They are too prideful and stubborn to admit that the direction they are taking Star Wars does not have a future, at least a good one. Yeah, here's another one that says, so another Disney show got ish-canned because preaching to the liberal, progressive, queer choir was deemed more important than actually making something entertaining. Well, I guess it's true. Go woke, you go broke. I hope Disney makes a couple more so we finally relieved this once great turned zombie company. I'd like to stress a message to all of you out there. I don't know why or who decided to change the phrase get woke, go broke to go woke, go broke, but it's wrong. In the great culture war era 10 years ago, the phrase was get woke, go broke, and it just flows better. Go woke? What does that even mean? Get woke, go broke. That's what we say. I have always titled all of my videos get woke, go broke. That's always been the hashtag. Go woke, go broke is a new one, and it's wrong. This new riffraff generation saying go woke, go broke. When I was a kid, we said get woke, go broke. Anyway, how the Acolyte wove queerness and lesbian space witches into Star Wars. Can I add to this? Let's let me inspect this element real quick, and we click this right here. Where's the? How do I? Here it is. Here it is. Into Star Wars. Okay, there's the phrase, and then got canceled for being garbage. Enter. Hey, I fixed the headline for you. How the Acolyte wove queerness and lesbian space, which is into Star Wars, and then got canceled for being garbage. How many of you didn't know you could do that? Right-click, inspect element, double-click the text, and add or change whatever you want. How fun is that? Anyway, I'll be fair, and I'll read the article as they intended. And so there's the lady, and here's the lesbian space witches, and here's another one. And they created a woman through, lesbian force birth. I'm not kidding. Contrary to what online trolls and Hollywood CEOs might have you believe, a franchise can't coast by on fan service and nostalgia alone. They say in 2017, after The Last Jedi sparked backlash for digging beneath the traditional hero's journey's tale, it was a bad story. The Star Wars sequel trilogy sputtered to a hollow, utterly risk-averse, ending with The Rise of Skywalker, garbage by the way. Somewhat ironically, the beloved sci-fi series has since fared best whenever its creators dared to build upon and even interrogate the rich mythology. Luckily, queer writer-director Leslie Headland's new Disney Plus series, The Acolyte, is another very welcome breath of fresh air in a galaxy far, far away. And its most recent episode centering on a coven of lesbian space witches, yes, really, I wasn't kidding when I said this, is its most absorbing yet. And you wonder why they canceled it? It's the kind of representation I've been craving from a Star Wars story for years. In the hands of Headland and her team, queerness isn't a checkbox. It's an additive way to question institutional power and norms and to interrogate the kind of attachments that are considered right. Set a century before the prequels, The Acolyte is the earliest live-action Star Wars to date, taking viewers even further from the overtrodden tales of the Skywalker family. Even so, its foundation is built upon a narrative conceit that will be immediately familiar to fans, conflicted space twins. The pilot wastes no time revealing the carefully held secret that Amandla Stenberg plays not one but two characters. May, a Sith apprentice whose master has tasked her with knocking off the Jedi she blames for the death of her family, Kill Bill style, and her twin sister Osha, an ex-Jedi in training who reluctantly reunites with her former master, Sol, to get to the bottom of May's killing spree. Having assumed that the other was dead for 16 years, each twin is forced to reckon with their pull toward one another. Osha remains convinced that May is fully responsible for the fire, blah, blah, blah. Episode 3 brings us closer to the truth. It's funny. That's the episode where viewership collapsed. Introducing us to 8-year-old May and Osha, blah, blah, blah. In a witchy, all-female space coven hidden away from the larger galaxy like the Jedi, the coven believes in sacrificing part of oneself for the good of the collective. But while the Jedi adhere to a stricter light side and dark side binary, the witches reject this in favor of a morally grayer, more holistic life, in which the ways people use the Force aren't so heavily regulated by an elite few. like queerness itself. Their approach eschews the rigid social codes around them, building community where they might otherwise be ostracized. Blah, blah, blah. As the twins prepare to take part in an ascension ceremony to officially join their coven, we learn the witches were cast out from the larger republic, hunted and persecuted to the brink of extinction because some would consider their powers dark and unnatural. Oh, heaven help me. And does anybody have to wonder why they canceled your show? Because the latest Acolyte episode is a rare Star Wars story, to not foreground a Jedi perspective, we see the Order instead as witches do, aloof, threatening monks with laser swords, blah, 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 trespass into their village and wish to indoctrinate their Force-sensitive children into their all-encompassing religion. They make the Jedi out to be like cis heteronormative Christians, saying like, you must live the way the Jedi order you. Given the coven is largely made up of queer women and women of color, Mother Anastaea's warning to her children that the galaxy is not welcoming to women like us. And the first 2 episodes were like the biggest release ever, and then viewership completely collapsed. I can only laugh. Sorry. You made a weird, off-putting show that considers no one. Okay? There is a population. There is generality. When you try to make massive shows to few... Look, okay, I had a friend. A long time ago, I had a friend. He plays music. And he showed me his music. And I said, your music's really good. And you're not going to get anywhere with it. And we were teenagers. And he was like, he's like, I think it's really good. You don't think it's good? And I was like, no, I think your music's fantastic, man. The drumming is on point. The guitar, the writing is fantastic. The lyrics are deep. And you've essentially made pickle ice cream. You know, some people might like it. They sell mustard ice cream now. Some people might like it. But how many? 0.2%? There's a reason why most music is lowest common denominator garbage. They're trying to sell to the most people imaginable. Now, that doesn't mean you make lowest common denominator garbage. It means you consider the scale of your market when you're producing a product. And music, like a TV show, is a product. So if you're going to make a Star Wars, you need to ask yourself, we have a market. 100% of Star Wars fans watch Star Wars content. We have to make sure that they enjoy the content we produce. And it does play to the fans because these are the people who buy from us. However, we want to expand our offerings. The problem with shows like The Acolyte is that if I were an ice cream maker, I could make chocolate and sell chocolate forever. But if I then make pickle ice cream, some people may not buy it, but it does not in any way affect my chocolate ice cream. Now imagine if the product you make negatively impacts the other product. I make chocolate ice cream. I then make pickle ice cream. Unfortunately, they run through the same machines, so pickle residue ends up in the chocolate. No one wants to buy your product ever again. Your chocolate tastes bad. This is the thing with shows like The Acolyte. This show's writing has a huge impact on the rest of the Star Wars universe. So when you're trying to create a program that'll expand the audience to new areas, lesbians of color, I guess, consider that that's going to be like 0.001% of the U.S. population, and it has an impact on the rest of the lore and the show, which is 100% of your fan base who buys your product. And if you taint the rest of the product with something they don't like, they don't buy your product anymore. So congratulations, you played yourself. There we go. I suppose you can only reap what you have sown for so long. But I'll wrap it up there. Smash that like button, subscribe to this channel, share the show with your friends, and become a member over at timcast.com. Click join us, support our work if you like what we do. Again, you can follow me on X and Instagram at Timcast. The next segment will be up tonight at 8 p.m. over at youtube.com/TimcastIRL. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all then.